This is from Page with Njideka Maduka, bringing clarity to the headlines, one page at a time.
Absolutely bringing clarity to the headlines, one page at a time. A very fantastic day to you. It is Thursday, the 3rd of July 2025, and we're here to bring the front pages to you. My name is Njideka Maduka. We'll be doing this often as we can on the channel. We'll do around. But starting up with the pages this morning, but starting off with the news, plenty of them happening in the country. We're going to be looking at the Punch, we're going to be looking at the Vanguard, and of course the Guardian. And the Punch, kicking up with that, is leading us with a major political story in the country. I mean, this is one story that has been trending since yesterday. It says that 23 Tsunami election, Atiku Abubakar launch ADC to unseat Tinubu. 2027 elections, Atiku Abubakar launch ADC to unseat Tinubu. What the lead says, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi, former Senate President David Mark, and other coalition leaders have officially adopted the African Democratic Congress as a platform to spearhead President Bola Tinubu's defeat in the 2027 election. And of course, this unveiling happened yesterday at the el-Rufai Center in Abuja. During the course of that unveiling, some things unfolded, including the appointment of David Mark, a former Senate President, as the interim chairman of that party, and the former Osun State Governor Rufai as the interim National Secretary. An interesting development, I must say, because at a point in time we thought that the coalition was never going to head to anywhere. I mean, when Atiku and former governor of Kaduna State, that is el-Rufai, held a particular press conference and said, well, this is a coalition with it. And the question was, under which party actually, and who is going to be the preferred presidential candidate towards Tinubu. But I think perhaps the coalition may be taking shape right at the moment. If they can come and adopt a party, then we have to look out for something here. It's also quite interesting because this announcement, this unveiling of ADC as a preferred vehicle to clinch power is coming at a time or after members of this coalition were said to have launched a particular platform that is the All Democratic Alliance, ADA. And you want to ask, why adopting ADC if you had earlier announced ADA? But we're getting information that the reason for this unveiling is because the registration of ADA is not coming as expected. And so instead of putting all your eggs in one basket, I guess, they want to play safe and adopt ADC just so that they can plan ahead of 2027. And they're keeping their options open still. That's according to the coalition leader, Umar Ado. He said the group is keeping its options open. They will continue to pursue the registration of ADA with INEC, but at the moment, let them form a coalition. And I guess other people as well are trying to keep their options open, because if we look at some of the persons who were on the unveiling yesterday, they are still members of PDP, they're still members of Labour Party. Some of them, we know them to be members of APC. I mean, look at the former Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, who was there. John Oyego, former national chairman of APC, he was there. And so quite a number of them have one leg in their legacy parties, and of course the other leg in the alternative party, which is the ADC. And of course, I'm also wondering if we may be having moves in this coalition party, because you never can tell. Some names are surprisingly coming into this coalition beyond those people who think that they want to take over power because the country is being run down, the economic hardship, the insecurity, and of course the corruption. How many of them are there as news? That's this one question we really have to ask about. Is a long list of people who are interested in this coalition. We have to look out for what they will achieve after adopting this party. I'm wondering who will be their preferred candidate. That is something that we have to sort out. Obi, we know, is eyeing the presidential seat. Atiku as well. For Rotimi Amaechi, I know he contested in the 2023 APC presidential primary and came second. Has not really said anything about his ambition, but I wonder if he still has that ambition. But given how the contest is going, it would appear that the two front runners would be Peter Obi and of course Atiku Abubakar. It's left for us to see which of the two are actually interested in stepping down for the other. Already there are rumors flying around that B during a space on Twitter or X the other time agreed to do 1 term of 4 years. It does what the coalition agrees on. I don't know how he's going to do that, but basically that's what is being reported. But those are the political developments in the country. But one of the things playing out that we'll have to also look out for is the fact that ADC presidential candidate in the 2023 election, talking about Dumebi Kachuku, is already opposing the adoption of ADC as the coalition platform because he thinks that the man who gave them the permission to adopt ADC, that is Wosu, is not the right chairman of the ADC, so has legal standing to tell people to come into the coalition. Earlier on, Wosu, that is Ralph Wosu, was saying that all the national leaders had to resign just so they could make way for people like David Mark and Aregbesola to proceed the affairs of the party. A quite impressive development, I must say, but people like Dumebi are not, Kachuku are not finding it funny, saying that you people are on your own. I don't understand what is going on. And so, will this pose another problem to people coming from that coalition or coming to that coalition? Because one of the reasons these people are forming a coalition is because of the problems that exist in their own parties. You're talking about the PDP, you're talking about the Labour Party as well. So coming into a party where there seems to be disagreement as to the leadership, doesn't it pose a problem? Well, we'll see how they will maneuver this. I remember el-Rufai moved to SDP before coming back to ADC. When he was in SDP, people like Adewale Adebayo, who is the presidential candidate of the SDP, also posed some sort of a threat because he didn't really accept the movement into that party by some of these core politicians. Will all of these things pose a threat to them? We'll see what happens in the coming future. But away from that particular story, you have this one still on the Punch newspaper. Some economic matters now. Nigeria marked the review 2025 budget to avert crisis. IMF wants. Nigeria must review 2025 budget over crisis. IMF wants. Well, Nigeria's first outlook for 2025 is under serious threat, according to the International Monetary Fund, which has warned that the country must urgently revise its budget targets or face a deepening financial crisis. Basically, the IMF is quite cautious about our budget. I guess is a case of, would I say, being too optimistic. That is the country. Our budget, whatever it is we projected in terms of oil revenue, is under threat because according to IMF, the oil prices at the international market are falling. I mean, if you look at the market right about now, oil price is starting at around the 66 to 67 dollars per barrel. And of course, we know we put our benchmark for 2025 budget at $75 per barrel. So IMF is quite skeptical when it comes to what we can earn, fearing that we might increase our deficit. We know we projected a deficit of 13 trillion naira, and yes, we might not be able to end that because why? Oil price is falling. Not only that, our oil production is not as we expect it to be because we're also projecting over 2 million barrels per day. Well, guess what? I think we're still standing at 1.7 million barrels per day. Obviously, the deficit is going to be increasing, and government has promised that they are going to do something about it to work the budget. But IMF is saying you have to do it not just by a word, by a paper, construct everything so that you don't go beyond what you actually projected. Because when we go beyond what you projected, it will mean more deficit. More deficit means more worry. So let's just see what the government does with that. Still on the punch, and this one is talking about the insecurity. Lakorawa kills 15 in Sokoto village. Lakorawa kills 15 in Sokoto village. Well, this happened yesterday afternoon, and it's a sad one. This is a new terrorist group. I think we were told some time ago that it came from neighboring country. Well, whatever it takes for us to arrest the insecurity, it must be done fast enough. I talked about the insecurity in the country and possibly why it festers in my last podcast. If you can check that out, making sense of the insecurity in the country. That was my last podcast. You may need to check it out. We're learning that no fewer than 50 people were killed in that attack in Kwalajia village. Yes, Kwalajia village in Tangaza local government area of Sokoto state. Moving away from that story, we have the Vanguard. Still the talks of 2027. 2027, Atiku Abubakar, others take over ADC. Is a real takeover. I mean, it's like somebody coming to your house and saying, well, you're no longer the head of the family, I'm taking it over. And the head of the family willingly given on that headship position. It looks like that was what happened in ADC. We'll see what really unfolds here, which really is the biggest political story in the country. Is going to determine how 2027 will look like. Is it going to be like a political tsunami? Is it the tsunami we had been waiting for? Time will tell. I know that the APC appears unshaken. I mean, that's what they always say. But I don't know if this coalition can do what the APC did to Jonathan in 2015, but it will be very interesting to find out. Another headline here says, emergence of coalition has made APC stronger. That's Keyamo, the Minister of Aviation. Emergence of coalition has made APC stronger. Keyamo. Well, Keyamo, after he was appointed minister, he paid less attention to politics. But sometimes he comes up whenever there is a big political news and he just gives his 2 cents. And I guess that's what he is doing. I don't know. You may want to pick up the paper and see how he makes our APC stronger. But if the party is serious, that is the APC, that is the time to double up when it comes to effort in turning around the economy. Or turning around the country economically. It'd be very interesting to find out if Nigerians would for the first time vote based on issues, because we know how issues take ethnic sentiments or ethnic turns, tribal turns in the country. Let's see what the hardship will do to people's choices in 2027. Well, another headline here says, review 2025 budget, IMF tells FG. Review 2025 budget, IMF tells FG. We saw this headline as well on the Punch newspaper. IMF basically drawing the ear of the government, saying, do not increase your deficit. You have to do something to ensure that you will work your budget, and you have to cut down on recurrent expenditure. They hammered on that. I don't think the government is really interested in cutting down recurrent expenditure. The salaries, we understand. Cutting down the salaries of civil servants at this moment, I'm sure a number of persons will not really take it lightly, but there are certain recurrent expenditures we make. All those things we can buy in, and you wonder how often do they break down the computers, the chairs, all those things that keep recurring. Some things we budget for maintenance, are they really needed? Basically, you have to rework and see how you can cut down on your spending. An explosion: can the government ban importation of scrap materials? Explosion: can the government ban importation of scrap materials? We're learning that the government has banned the importation of scrap materials because there have been quite a number of explosions in Kano State recent, and it's feared that some of these explosions are caused by scrap metals coming from neighboring states like Borno, which is the epicenter of Boko Haram. Some of the scrap metals end up being IEDs, that is improvised explosive devices. And you know what that means. Sometimes when you handle them and it's time for them to explode, they just explode and cause havoc. And so Kano State government is trying to take preemptive measure. But it's one thing for you to ban, is another thing for you to implement, because some of those people who go about in such as scrap materials do it so informally. And so are they registered? Are they regulated? How do you stop them? It's beyond the association of scrap metal collectors coming up say, well, we don't collect things like that. There are people who may not be registered, who may be doing all of these things, getting all of these materials. What are you going to do about them? What Guardian is next? Anxiety over PDP's future as ADC excites a group of politicians. Anxiety over PDP's future as ADC excites a group. Politicians excites indeed, because I imagine the number of phrases I beginning to see the momentum this is scattering. Like we said earlier on, at a point in time, it seemed the coalition was shaky, but it seems it's gaining momentum now. And people would like to identify, they're watching, standing by, watching and say, what's going to happen next? And let me jump and see whether I can benefit from this coalition. The way APC, at a point in time, was like a new bride, and people were jumping ship into APC. These are going to be the same for the coalition ahead of the 2027. We'll get to see. And I'm very much concerned whether PDP can get its act together, because at a point in time, it was a national secretaryship position that appeared to be a problem, and they have been resolved in favor of Anyanwu. Will this coalition actually take off, given the fact that a party like PDP appeared to have resolved its internal wrangling? We'll wait and see. We have this one, Obi Sani differ on Tinubu scholarship to ECS students. Obi Sani differ on Tinubu scholarship to ECS students. Well, basically, Peter Obi and of course Shehu Sani, who was a senator representing Kaduna Central, arguing it out because the president, she remembered the president the other time when he traveled to St. Lucius. He offers scholarship to students in that country who may want to come to Nigeria to study. Obi is basically saying charity begins at home. You can't be given a scholarship when you have your own students here, millions of them after school. But Sani is saying, well, there is nothing wrong there. It's all about cooperation. You have other countries who have their own domestic problems, and they don't stop helping Nigeria. So based on that logic, you can say because Nigeria has its own problem, it cannot help other countries. There seems to be a point there. Obito has a point, charity not speaking at home, actually. We can do all of these things. We can show genuineness in turning around the human capital index of our country, while we try to also help other countries. We know what it can do for the nation. And last but not least here, health matters. Why having children after 40 is risky, expert. Why having children after 40 is risky, expert. Well, this should be of interest to those who are 40. Get the paper and see what the experts are saying and why they're saying what they have to say. But that's a wrap for us. It's on the front page yesterday, hoping that you pick up all of the papers and stay informed. Please let us know what you think about any of the headlines. Which of them tickles your fancy? Is it the political stories? Is it health matters, security issues, economy? Let's know what you're saying in the comment section. Like to hear from you. I will see you next time. We hope to keep doing this as often as we can. And of course, keep making sense of the headlines with us. We're here to give clarity to the headlines at one page at a time. My name is Njideka Maduka. Do have a fantastic day.